Hello, everybody. This is Pat Puzder in the good old city of Stockbridge, Georgia, coming to you live with many of my dear friends and fellow sisters in Avon, brothers in Avon. We have assembled a wonderful group of people today that knows just about everything there is to know when you put them all together about success in this business we all love. We have, starting on the end, Criss from Alabama. Karen and I have been friends for many years, and she is a mom, a wife. She's a great fundraiser, and that's the main reason I invited her to be here today, but she also has a good-sized leadership team. And next to Karen is Angelique Agee, my buddy, also from Alabama, from a different part of Alabama. Angelique is very successful in her Avon business, and she has always been so supportive of anything that we try to do to raise money for our causes. And I'm so happy that she joined us today. She's also a great photographer. And then next to Angelique is Rhonda Voss. Rhonda Voss has been my biggest mentor for many years. I just have to say this real quick. I met Rhonda Voss in the hallway at an Avon conference. And we both talked so long, we missed our next class. I love Rhonda. She has really helped me so much over the years since I had no upline and no mentor. She means the world to me. So Rhonda is from North Carolina. Next to Rhonda is Stone-Bibb, who is the backbone for Molly Stone-Bibb, and I don't think they even need an introduction because they're one of the formidable four of them. Very successful in their business and always willing to put it out there. She tells you the truth about what it takes. And next to Molly is Eric Mullins. Eric has been my phone buddy for a while. And next to Eric is Lisa Scola. They are both from Ohio and really good people. These people came here, by the way, at their own expense. I didn't pay them to come, and I'm not giving them nothing for coming. And I think that speaks worlds to what kind of people they are. Next to Lisa is Carla Lytle. I'm Carla's aunt, in case y'all didn't know that. She has been my niece ever since I've known her family. And Carla is very successful in her own right. And I'm just thrilled that she could be with us today. And this is Karrell Wilkerson from Kentucky. She has a pretty successful Avon team, and she's a great community organizer and fundraiser, which is one of the main reasons I wanted Karrell to be with us today. So I'm going to ask each of these people. Oh, I'm so sorry. Lisa Wilber is behind me, and she's so quiet, I almost forgot to introduce her. I am so sorry, Lisa. Lisa, how could I forget Captain Platinum? My goodness, y'all gonna have to whip me. Lisa Wilber was the first person I ever heard of that was successful with leadership, because when I was new, I bought her books. I saw the CD that Avon had made, and I knew she was very successful. And when Lisa Wilber talks, I listen. And she also is one of the formidable four, as is Lisa Scola, and I forgot to say that. The only one that's not here is Teresa Paul. So we have three of the formidable four here today. I'm very fortunate to have that. Lisa Wilber is a platinum executive. I am going to say her title. It wouldn't be fair if I didn't. She is at the top of the pay plan. She has so much knowledge and such great advice. If people would just listen to her, we'd all be that successful. And some of us will be. And in part, a lot due to Lisa's willingness to share with everybody. So thank you, Lisa, for being here via Zoom. She couldn't be here in person because she had a previous engagement to speak at a women's event in Texas, but we Zoomed her in. We wanted her here. We were willing to Zoom her in to get her here because we couldn't have anybody better to talk to us about the business. So having said a little bit about each, I saved a lot because I want them to tell you a little bit about their stories, and then we'll ask them some questions. Is that okay? All righty, great. I thought I introduced myself. Okay, I'm sorry. We had a little meeting, but evidently we. How many Avon reps does it take to plan one of these things? I don't know. More than we had, obviously. That's my fault. I did introduce Lisa. I introduced to everybody, but we're going to start with Lisa Wilber, and let Lisa Wilber introduce herself first.
Yeah, but I don't know what to say that you haven't already said.
Well, tell us a little bit about your story, Lisa. Yeah. I mean, I know it. I could get up and tell it, but it won't be the same as coming from you. I want you to tell us your story a little bit, okay?
Okay. My name is Lisa Wilber. I'm from Ware, New Hampshire. I've been an Avon representative since 1981, full-time since 1987. I started building my leadership team in January 93. I made senior executive unit leader in 1994 in March. And I'm right now platinum executive unit leader and loving it. No, sorry. I'm here at the Ambitious Women's Conference in Dallas, Texas, and they asked me to say something unusual about myself. And as you guys know, I talk about myself and share so many details. I didn't even know what to tell them. So I told them the unusual facts about me is that I can drive a stick shift and shoot a shotgun. So if you're looking for a getaway driver, I'm your gal. So, but my earnings from leadership, I think, is what most people are interested in hearing. My first year, I did, what is it? I don't even remember now, but it was 12,000. I think I earned 12,000 for a full year, and I sunk it all back in and then some. As a matter of fact, I sunk it in for a few years and then some. I sold at council level to live off of, and fast forward to this last year when they adjusted the pay plan. My checks doubled when they adjusted the pay plan in campaign 5. My checks right now are averaging $20,000 a campaign. So I went from living in a single wide trailer in a trailer park to flying in Texas and having people listen to me. So it's bizarre and amazing, and I love my life.
So y'all wouldn't hear me breathing. Let's hear from Rhonda Voss next. Rhonda Voss.
So how do you follow that? Well, I'm about half of what Lisa is, I guess. I started Avon quite by accident. Used that other pink stuff in case you remember that. And my daughter, who's on this panel now, I have to tell the story right, she says. So she had braces, and after braces, you have to have retainers. And the orthodontist will tell you that if you wrap those in a napkin at McDonald's or Hardee's or somewhere, you will put them on the tray and you will probably throw them away. Well, now what she wants me to make sure I say is she didn't throw hers away, but the manager, this is what she tells me, came by and picked up the tray and she didn't realize it. It was the one and only time a McDonald's employee I hope you probably didn't hear her there since I have the microphone here, but she says it's the first one and only time that a McDonald's person actually came by and picked up the trash while she was in the bathroom. But anyway, because of that, I had told her if she did what he said, that I would make her earn the $200 to pay back the cost of those retainers. And so I took her to sign up to sell Avon. And when I did that, I found out that if you're 14 years old, you can't sell Avon, but that you have to be 18 to sign the contract. So I signed the contract with the intention of Carla was just going to sell Avon. Well, fast forward, and I learned a lot about Avon. She did earn the $200, and she did pay me back. And then she went on about her little 14-year-old business. But by this time, I've learned enough about Avon to feel like, there might be something to this. And so we started doing fundraisers, which was a marvelous thing to do, to give back to your community. And from there, I heard something about leadership. And my manager at the time just kind of handed me a book and said, there's this something called leadership. I think you might be good at it. Here's the book. Go train yourself. Well, y'all, I'm just a little old country girl from Cleveland County, North Carolina, Shelby. And I didn't have any better sense than to read the book and do what it said. And lo and behold, I got a little check. Here comes a little check in the mail. It was $1.13. Well, really, it wasn't a check. It was just a thing that said, hey, we're going to pay you $1.13 when this person pays for her order. And so then the next campaign, I got another little piece of paper that says, congratulations, you've got $10 and something or $13 and something earned, but we're not going to send it to you until those people pay for the order. So finally, about 6 weeks into it, I got my little first check, and I realized that, oh my gosh, if I have one person and I could get $1.13, then I could get $113 if I had 100 people. So I started to do that. And 21 years later, this is my full-time career. It has enabled me to live the life of my dreams right now. And like I said, I'm about half of Lisa Wilber. I average about $10,000 every 2 weeks. I've been able to establish a foundation for victims of domestic violence. We are building a retreat center on 50 acres of farmland that we've got there in Cleveland County. And so it is just a wonderful, wonderful opportunity. And I highly recommend that anybody that wants to start and work and reinvest, just like Lisa says, it takes work and money and that, but you don't ever have to dig in your pocket for the money. You make the money that you put in. I'm sorry, I talked too long. That's great. Who's next? I'm a little flaky, so if I mess up.
Hi, I'm Lisa Scola, and I'm from Youngstown, Ohio. I've been doing Avon now for 17 years, and I started, and it's funny because very rarely do you hear somebody say, oh, I'm going to go start an Avon business and make all kinds of money. Well, you might when you listen to a panel like this and have somebody to follow. I didn't have that. Didn't know anything about it. I just wanted to make some extra money and do something when my kids were little. So Avon seemed like a good fit. No inventory, no sales quota, no lugging stuff around to do parties. And I loved it. So I said, I'll start that up. And I personally shopped for about 2 years at President's Club level. So I was a good Avon representative. But no, on an honest note, you're buying the stuff you need for your house, and the kids needed stuff for preschool and whatever, and you buy from yourself rather than from whatever. And the Christmas presents came from it, and I really did enjoy it. And a friend of mine said, hey, what are you making some money with that? Now, back then they had meetings and I'd go to them and they said, wow, look at these people making this kind of money and these people are making, and I'm like, wow, they're actually selling some Avon, making some money. I thought that was really cool. And I said, my girlfriend, I said, oh, you can, yes, I'm making money. Yes, absolutely. We can get you started. And we got her started. And that was my jump into leadership. So 2 years in, as soon as she started, I said, I better take this seriously because now I have somebody that I'm going to help build a business for. And started getting some books and started upping my customers and started doing events and started talking to everybody that I knew. And I had a $17,500 increase that year because I actually was selling the Avon. And I and I started a team. And I quickly started to move up because I took it very seriously. And like Lisa Wilber says, and you've heard from Rhonda already, you are going to invest something back into this business. And I did line ads at the time to help build. And it really has been a very lucrative income when you're not giving it up and you're not quitting and you're not letting it sit on the back burner. So I've had a lot of trials and tribulations in my life. I share that a lot with groups and in groups and with other Avon reps. So I had to go through a divorce and Avon had to become a full-time income for me. And it did become a full-time income. So I dropped back down. I've come back up. I've seen all levels of what this business can do. And honestly, when I had decided that that's going to be it, this is going to raise my kids, this is what it's going to be. You know, I'm now I'm a 6-figure income earner with Avon. So I have proudly sat around with my 3 beautiful children and said, yep, mama stays home. And she works a lot from home, but she doesn't go to a job. And I love when their friends come over and you always get that saying, what's your mom do? She does Avon. I mean, it's always that thing. And honestly, it's a life-changing opportunity. And events like this and friendships that you build in this business are unlike anything I've ever seen before. So I just, I'm in here for the long haul. I love it. And I'm trying to reach Lisa Wilber. Not sure I'm ever going to catch up. I think I got another probably 20 years, but I'm working on it. I'm working on it. I'm not giving it up.
Hey, y'all. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Molly Stone-Bibb, and my sidekick here, Lee Bibb, my partner in crime. My story's just a little different. I honestly was a hot mess when I came to Avon. Was a 15-year customer, which is probably the best way to come. My upline, who was my Avon lady, Mary Ann Penn, is the person who got me started in this. I bought Avon from her for 15 years. Didn't really have a need. She put this recruiting flyer thing in there all the time. Never read it. Didn't need it. Just wanted the Christmas stuff. Just wanted to buy. That's all there was to it. And it ended up that life changed. And I think for a lot of people that may be where they resonate with me. Life is moving great, things happen, and life for me had a great big drawback. I was married for 17 years, not a great marriage, not a great life. My mom had died when I was 16, and you know, it just seemed like everything just kind of sucked out there. Packed up one day, left in the middle of the night with my kids, lost my home, lost everything. And then, you know, you do this thing, you're like, well, aren't I the biggest failure in the room? This is awesome. And that's how I felt with my kids. That's how I felt in life. You know, I worked hard all my life, but never in my life had I ever made more than $8 an hour. I mean, 17 years of the job, $8 an hour. And you know why? Because I truly did not think that I was worth any more than that. That's what it came down to, because who stays at a job for 17 years making $8 an hour? Not normal people. Hot mess. Again, here we are. And when I moved, Mary Ann, I called her and said, look, I don't know if I can even buy any Avon from you. One thing's for sure. Avon always made me feel better. And I know so many people understand what I say. I mean, you get a book, you can't help it. It's like the Sears Wish book. You just want to page through it, whether you can buy it or not. And she said, no problem. No problem. She said, I will be down there with the brochure. Next day, she was down there, and there was this recruiting flyer. And then you could sign up for Avon for $20. And I thought, I need to know more about this. And I asked her about it. Things like, do I have to buy stock? Things like, do I have to have home parties? And the reason I ask is because I not only worked my full-time job, but I delivered newspapers during the week in the middle of the night. And I was raising my kids. And I was on the verge of like, I need to get my son through prom and graduation. And I didn't know how I was going to do that. And she said, give this 6 months. I'm telling you, it can do this. So I borrowed the $20. And in my mind, I said yes to her, but I was really thinking in April, out in July, because how in the world could I possibly deal with a third job? I very quickly found out that this is a business that you work around your life and not your life around a business. And I think personally, I think it's a big mistake that a lot of people make. Everybody's trying to find time to make your life better. And in essence, with what we do, you don't have to do that. You can work it around anything in your life. And I did. I enjoyed selling the product. What did I do? Everywhere I went, everybody got a brochure. Drive-through window, everybody got a brochure. Take the kids to the doctor, everybody got a brochure. But what I found out is there were people like me. They loved Avon. They loved the brochures. And suddenly, I was making money. And it was a side hustle, but how amazing that I could do this. 6 months in, I was able to say goodbye to that paper route, which was absolutely awesome because it was killing me being up all night. And Marianne one day said, hey, I think you'd really be good at, you should do leadership. And I said, what is leadership? And she said, well, you talk to people about doing what you do. And I was like, are you crazy? You want me to tell people what I do, and then I'm not going to make the money. They're not going to buy from me. Are you out of your mind? And she says, but you know that if you get to that first title, there's a $500 bonus. And I said, where do I sign up? I'm in. Money talks. And that was the start of something that who knew? Who knew? Here I am. For this to be able to pay all my bills, just make my bills. Because see, I was the girl who every phone call was about a bill collector. They were going to come take my van. They were going to, cut off this, cut off that. They would start out a phone call with, hey, Molly, how you doing? I'd be like, hey, how are you? And they'd like, you owe us $150. When you going to pay? And I was like, nobody ever calls me just to say hi. So that was my goal. And you know what? Within the first 18 months, my goal was met. And it was paying bills so nobody was calling me. And that was amazing. It took me, unlike a lot of people, again, hot mess, took me 7 years into the business to be able to say, hey, boss, you can't afford me anymore. And guess what? I quit. I quit. Like that. It was great. 7 years. But you know what? It wasn't easy. But I knew what I wanted. And I wanted to be Scola. I wanted to be Teresa Paul. I wanted to be Mama Pat. I wanted to be these people because I didn't get to stay home with my kids. I didn't get to bring cupcakes in because I was working to make sure they could get boxed macaroni and cheese. Now I make homemade macaroni and cheese, but that's another story altogether. So 14 years plus in this business, we could all go on, and I definitely could, but I promised Mom Pat I wouldn't do this because she's worried about that, and here I go doing it. So you can do this business, and if you're looking for a side hustle and you think you're not worth it, and you think that you're only worth, in this day, $10 an hour, think again. because you're worth so much more, but nobody else will get that until you get it. And it took me a lot of years, and some days I'm still trying to get it. Still trying to get it. You always want to go back to those old habits. Don't do it. This is the time that you say, you wanted to quit today? Not today, Satan. Not today. Don't quit. Because we are all here living proof that no matter what your story is, no matter what your need is, no matter what it is that you want, you can if you keep at it. What you got to say, baby? Come on.
You said it all.
Come on, Lee.
I'm good.
You good?
Yeah.
Lee's good. Eric.
Okay, I guess it's my turn, which, yeah, I know. Like, you make me follow Molly Stone-Bibb.
You can handle it.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, my name is Eric Mullins. I've been with Avon now 11 years. August was 11 years for me. And I first started in this business by helping Lisa Scola. And, you know, she was going through a divorce, and I had just gone through a divorce, and, you know, I would help her make deliveries, and we would hang out, and it was cool. It was fun. It was coffee and talking, and, you know, and anyway, so I'm helping her with the business, and she says, "Hey, why don't you do Avon?" And I said, "No, I really like you and all, and I don't mind helping, but guys don't really sell Avon." I mean, my aunt, when I was growing up, sold Avon, and I knew a lot of women that bought Avon, but I never heard of really an Avon guy. And Lisa was so great. She reassured me, there's tons of Avon guys. Sure there was. So I said, you know, after a while, and, you know, her asking, I said, okay, yeah, sure, I'll give it a try. And I said, how do I get started as a guy? And, you know, she said, well, you've seen me do it a million times. Just do exactly what I do. So I remember my first time going out selling Avon. I stuck a bunch of brochures in my back pocket, and I said, I'm going to go to the grocery store, and I'm going to talk to women there. So I'm walking around the grocery store, and I'm like, oh, she doesn't look like she's in a good mood. And oh, she looks like she's busy. And that one's got a crying kid. And I said, you know what, maybe inside the store isn't the idea. So I said, I'm going to go outside in the parking lot, and I'm going to catch women out in the parking lot, not putting a whole lot of thought into this, thinking like, so I was so excited. I said, ma'am, and I went screaming across the parking lot, and she went screaming the other direction. And I said, well, yeah, that's probably not the best approach. So I slightly changed it up. I took the Avon brochure out of my back pocket, held it in front of me, slowly walked towards them. And that kind of started, you know, my adventure with Avon. And I call it an adventure because it really has been. You know, I didn't expect to get more out of this business than, I don't know, like maybe $100 every 2 weeks. And, you know, I thought, well, you know, this will be something I can do on the side with working another job, like a manly job. And this will just be my side hustle. But, you know, every time, you know, I looked at my kids, my son Ethan was 4, my daughter Julia was 7. You know, I'd look at them and tuck them in at night, and, you know, they'd say, Dad, I love you. And I'd say, I love you too. You know, I started thinking to myself, what kind of dad do I want to be? Do I want to be the dad that's working 2 jobs, just doing a great job financially taking care of his kids? Or do I want to be that dad that's present and involved in my kids' lives? Do I want to be the one and only dad that could show up at the meetings at school when they had their, you know, Christmas parties and Halloween parties and be there? Because there was a whole lot of moms there, but there wasn't a whole lot of dads. And I said, you know, my kids only get one life to live. I want to make it the best life I possibly can. So my first year in Avon, I think there's 365 days in a year. I probably wanted to quit at least 400 times. You know, I would go out, people would say no. I would say, okay, I'm done, no more. And then, you know, I think about my kids and I'd say, okay, I'm going to give this just one more week. Just going to do it one more week and see what happens. And then something else would happen. I lost my first team. You know, I ran into challenges, and, you know, there was a lot of nights that I was working another job because Avon wasn't just paying the bills yet. So I was working another job, and there's times I'd work all night and Lisa say, guess what? We're doing deliveries first thing in the morning. You ready? And I'm like, I'm ready, baby. And we'd go out and do it. But, you know, just something kept calling me back. And I met people like Molly and other great people in the room. And I heard their success stories. And I said, you know, there needs to be more men involved in this business, going out, living their dream, being able to be there with their kids and their families. So that kind of spurred me on and helped me to create a drive to be successful, to kind of lead the way and show other men, yes, this is a business. This is something important you can do to change your life. And with that, I'm good. Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, y'all. By the way, Molly, your y'all is getting really nice. You're going to fit in really good in North Carolina, I'm telling you. So I am Carla Lytle, and I am from the great state of North Carolina. I'm a Carolina girl, born and raised. Some people find me funny. Other people find me annoying, so that could go either way. So enjoy. I have been absolutely every type of Avon representative that there is on the planet, so much so that I be by little by right now. And what I mean by that is I did not want to sell Avon when I first started selling Avon. I didn't even want to kind of sell Avon. Okay, I think I was 27 at the time. No, wait. What's 11 from 36? 25. Okay, good. Yeah, roots are real. So I was 25 at the time, and I went to school and financed it. And I was getting that lovely student loan check in the mail every month, like a lot of millennials like me did, because they were like, hey, you can get free money. That's appealing when you're 18. So I took out all these student loans and I had to pay them, and I got my job and I got my degree, and I was like, I'm going to make money and be a big girl. And the real world smacks you in the face. And they're like, not as a teacher. So I was always complaining. It was not life to be. As a millennial, and I think a lot of millennials feel this way, and I am an elder millennial. Okay, I might be the baby on this panel, but I'm an old one. Okay, I remember the phones with the cords. So yeah, the young ones call me grandma. So I was super poor, and I didn't expect that I would go to school and get out and have to look at the price of stuff at the grocery store and not be able to go on fabulous vacations and all the stuff that, you know, the Kardashians do. I thought I went to school. I'm a Kardashian. Okay, so when that failed, I was complaining to my mother like every day about how broke I was and how bad it sucked. And she would always go, you can sell Avon. And I was like, I don't want to sell Avon. Okay. And I was like, I went to school. I got a degree. Right. So I thought I was hot stuff. I wasn't. So she kept on bringing it up. She was like, come on, you should just do it. Like literally every time I complained about money, which if you know anybody that needs money, we complain about it a lot, right? So if you got your listening ears on, you'll always find your next Avon representative, all right? So I was complaining. She was like, just sell Avon, just sell Avon, just sell Avon, to the point where I was like, I'm going to sign this contract. I swear to God, I'm going to sign this contract so I don't have to hear, why don't you just sell Avon no more? That's the only reason I did it. That was it. So I signed it. I want to sell some Avon. Okay. And then I started selling it and I started making some money. And I was like, okay, this is extra money. This is pretty good. And I was happy with, you know, the extra $100. I relate to that part of your story. I was happy with that. It wasn't my full-time thing. And then I got laid off. And the student loan check was coming, but the paycheck wasn't. But thankfully, I got another job 2 weeks later, and I went to work at another employee. And because I was in childcare and the economy tanked and businesses were shutting down and people didn't need childcare anymore, that business that I got a job at 3 months later laid me off. And I had bought plane tickets to Vegas because I had made enough money with my Avon paycheck that I was going to go on my first trip. And I really wanted to go to Vegas. I had absolutely no desire to actually sit and listen to what they were going to talk about. I just wanted to go to Vegas. And I was laid off a week before. And I'd also won a cruise. And I had told my mom, I was like, look, they're not going to let me off work. I'm just going to have to miss that cruise. Well, God had other plans because God said, oh, yes, you are going to go on that cruise because they laid me off. So I got on the plane and I went to Vegas, and I think I had $200 in my checking account, like just enough to cover everything out there, and then $200 on the way home. And I was like, I'm just going to live on unemployment. I'm going to figure something out. I went to my first convention, and I heard people like Lisa stand up, and they said how much their units sold. And that was probably the first time I paid attention, because I was like, what? Wait a minute, what? $20,000 every 2 weeks? Oh, yeah, I can live on Kardashians. There I come. So my 27-year-old, 28-year-old brain at the time was like, yes, sign me up. Maybe I should take a better look at this. So I came home on the plane, and I decided that I was going to make Avon my full-time business. And I went to my team, and this is a testament, and I think this is, and I can still do this to this day, which is why I know it works. I went to my team and I said, I have absolutely no clue what I'm doing, but I'm going to try everything because I need to make some money. Y'all want to try? And they were like, yeah, every single one of them. I was like, are you serious? Like, I just had to say, I don't know what I'm doing. Will you follow me? And they were like, for sure. And they did. And in that first year, I took a year on unemployment, and I had replaced my teacher's salary. And so I was just paying the bills. I was that representative that was just paying the bills, but I still didn't have the Kardashian lifestyle. And I'm working on it, Lisa. I'm coming for you, baby. So Lisa's my buddy. She knows I love her. So I continued to work my Avon business, and it was ups and downs and ups and downs. And when you make more money, you spend more money. Nobody told me about that. So then the bill collectors started calling Molly, and they were like, that minimum's due. And I was like, oh, great, because that's all I can pay. So I was, again, that representative, still living paycheck to paycheck. But last year when Avon adjusted the pay scale, I wouldn't say I'm a Kardashian, because that's Lisa Wilber money. But I do okay. I don't want for anything. And my Avon paycheck, actually, I'm super grateful for it, because not only were we able to move into a luxury bomb apartment, like it has the key fob, you have to get in, like you have to push a button and dial to get into my building. I can't even walk up to it. It's got an elevator, boo. I was excited. So not only was I able to do that and pay all the bills for that apartment, but when my cat was diagnosed with a cancer that's going to kill it in about 2 years, which I don't have children. Okay. I know you love them, right? Okay. But I have fur babies. And when my cat was diagnosed with cancer, and I was told the price tag on that, which is insane. It's like $7,000. I was able to say, you know what? I love this animal, and I have the money that I can pay for its treatments to extend its life as long as possible. And hopefully, it'll beat it. But I sat there and I thought, as I'm paying the $300 at the vet every week for his treatments, I thought, what would I do? What would I do if I didn't have this Avon business and I had to make the awful choice between, will I let my animal live or will I have to put it down? And I thought, wow, I might not have the Kardashian lifestyle yet, but it feels pretty good to know that I can walk into that doctor's office and pay for my cat's chemo treatment every week and still pay for my bills. So with that, I'm done.
What a crowd to follow. My name is Karen Criss, and I've been selling Avon. I celebrated 30 years one day last week. So I think I've got all of you guys beat. that doesn't mean I'm older or more intelligent than any of these folks here. But I started because I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. And my district manager at the time said, oh, there's a girl in our district that makes $1,000 a month, and she's been able to stay home with her kids. And I thought, wow, $1,000 a month selling Avon? Because I thought I was this great customer. I probably spent maybe $12, sometimes $15, every campaign buying Avon from my Avon lady. And she said, you should get started and you can make $1,000 a month. And I was, oh, that's a great goal. So started out, Lacey was a baby, and started going to the district sales meetings. And there was a girl that was selling over $100,000 a year. And I thought, wow, that's something. And then 1999, I went to my first convention in Orlando. And like someone else said, when you start seeing those people on stage and you go, you mean they're making $100,000 a month? Sorry about that. They're making $100,000 a year selling Avon. Well, they don't look any different than me. If they can do that, I can do that too, So I kept working at it. Leadership came along in 1992, and I was one of the first on board. And in 94, I made, at that time, what was called Advanced Unit Leader. And I was invited to go to Las Vegas, all expenses paid by Avon. At that time, I think I might have been on a plane one time. But I went to Las Vegas, and I started meeting people like Rhonda Voss. And a few years down the road, Pat Puzder. And we became the best of friends. And so I found out, Avon's a little bit more than just about the money. It's about these lifelong friendships that you make. And fast forward a few years, we were just laughing about it earlier. I had 2 daughters. One was 10 and the other was about to be 14. And I found out the good Lord had another plan for me, and I was having another baby. I was age 40 and I was very shocked. Let's just put it that way. And Skylar came along, and she will be 17 soon. And I'll have to say, I have never missed a field trip. I've never missed a Halloween or a Christmas party at school. I've been able to stay home with those kids and raise them like I wanted to do. And then I think the best thing is when my mom and dad got older and they needed somebody to care for them. I was an only child, never missed a doctor's appointment, never missed any hospitalization, and I was there holding both their hands when they left this world. And if you have a real job, you can't do that. So that's my heart with Avon, is because I've been able to make this a business. Traveled all over the world, had some great times, and still been able to make a little money on the side. So with that, I'm going to pass it down to my other Alabama girl here.
Bama girls. Hey guys, I'm Angelique Agee. I'm from Mobile, Alabama. Roll Tide. And I've been in Avon now for 24, going on 25 years. So I'm almost up there with you. And been a journey. It's been an incredible journey. And I can relate to everybody on here as to different things, because I've been through a lot of it. And then I've learned from a lot of you too. But 24, almost 25 years ago, I did never imagine we'd be here and we'd be book authors and we'd be doing all this. I never imagined that, because I didn't even want to do this. Like Carla, I didn't want to do this. I had just told my dad that I don't want to sell a thing, and here I am back in sales again. And I so totally did not at that time believe in a home-based business like a lot of people. Because I didn't understand that. I went to school to exchange hours for dollars. You got an education, got a job, and you got a paycheck. And so that was my mentality. The home-based was just not in the picture for me. So but I got in it, and 2 years down the road, I actually liked it, and I had a good time. I was one of the people that went to the meetings and was rah, 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 and I was like, "Wow, how do they do it?" But I enjoyed it. And when I finally learned how to make money from selling, I was like, "Okay, this is good." And then I said, "Everybody's gotta be doing this." And I went to the conference like you, and somebody else mentioned it. I was inspired, and I didn't know what leadership was. I said, "Wow." I said, they have fun. They teach other people to do what they do, and this is so much fun. And they make like $3,000 every 2 weeks." And I went home and I'm like, "I'm starting leadership." And I was in leadership. So it's been 20 years as a leader. And lots of different, all exciting things have happened in those 20 years. And I'm at the point now in my business that I am doing things that I want to do. I'm enjoying myself. I've always wanted to be a photographer. And last year, I bought a whole photography setup and put it in my tiny little office. And I said, I'm going to do stuff right here in my office, just like these people that do all these YouTube videos. I was like, I'm going to do it right here in my office, set it all up. And then this year, I got a very fancy camera, and I said, I'm going to learn how to do this the real way. And so I'm doing things that I enjoy right now. The team is just amazing. The partnerships that I've built over the years are priceless. The friendships, like Karen mentioned, I mean, I came to Bama to see you.
Yeah.
You remember that? Okay. And because you were the closest. So she was just like 2 hours, and everybody else was like, yeah, everybody else was about 6. So so I went to, the friendships, and well, everybody here I've connected with. And Lisa was somebody that talked to me when nobody else would, when I was reaching out for questions, and she talked to me just like I was one of her team members. So I'm grateful for all that. I'm grateful for the partnerships. I'm grateful for all of the mentors that we've come along with in the business. We have the opportunity of a lifetime, because I'm hearing from everybody. Everybody loves this. We love this. We love this business, and it's changed lives. And I've watched it change my team members' lives. I've watched them leave jobs. I've watched them make money, win trips. And that just touches me. That just makes me say, "Oh, come on." So I'm with this. I'm in this for the long haul. They're gonna have to kick me out of Avon, or I'm gonna have to die, one or the other. So, but the opportunity is there, and just believe and just keep trying different things, and know that if I can do it, and all of us, if we did it, everybody can do it. So that's it.
Hi, I'm Karrell Wilkerson, and I'm from Kentucky, and I am very pleased to be on this panel with some great people that I communicate with. Every time that we're on a trip, it's like a big reunion. So it's always good to have familiar faces and friends out there that you can keep in touch with across the internet and different ways. But I started Avon. I'm celebrating also 30 years this year. I started in January. So I celebrate all year long, and and it changes, 30 years with Avon, you see a lot of changes with Avon, but you see a lot of changes within yourself. We all have our own little why that we sell Avon, and I was my sister's helper, and I lived about 30 miles from her, and I guess I was just more trouble than I was worth. She said, "Why don't you sign up and do it yourself?" But honestly, um, I was selling more than she was. She was the representative and I was the helper. So she called her manager, and that was 30 years ago. So she called her manager. It took us about 4 months for that manager to even reach out to me. And I'll be honest, I worked for her brother. I was the bookkeeper at a sawmill, and she was the Avon manager. And she said I was a high risk. I was young. I'd just gotten my first job. I was a newlywed. I didn't own my own home. She said I was a high risk, and she would not talk to me. And so another lady from a neighboring town, she came and signed me up. And I'm like, I got orders. I got to put them on. I got to put them in. So we did the paper order. She showed me how to do it. My sister helped me along the way. And I've never thought about quitting. People say, like you all have bumps in the road and stuff, but I never thought about quitting. I had bumps in the road a lot, but Avon was always there for me. And I noticed that when I was working a public job or anything, I never had any money in my pocket. But as my niece figured out for me, I babysat her for 16 years. And she's 20 now. I'm very proud of her. She's a school teacher. She's 21, I'm sorry. And she's a school teacher. And I picked her up from school one afternoon, and I said, now, Carrie, we can't get ice cream this afternoon. I forgot my purse, and I have scrambled around the whole time. I'm sitting in the pickup line looking for some change to get some ice cream. And I said, there is not one dime in this Jeep. And so she said, well, let's just stop down here at the store. Maybe somebody owes you some Avon money. And I said, you know what? I think that lady does owe me $11. So that's when I realized, Avon is always there for you. Even when you don't think you have anything, you've got your friends, you've got your family, and everybody always looks forward to seeing you with Avon. I feel like job security with the 133-year-old company. They let you run your business however you want to. We're here. The American Cancer Society brought us all together here with the breast cancer awareness. You can use your business to give back to anything that you absolutely want to. I've told it before. I gave back to March of Dimes several years ago. I had no connection. It was just a group that wanted to do a fundraiser, and I got involved with them. And then my great nephews came along 10 years ago, and they were premature, and they had a lot of health problems, and they are now March of Dimes ambassadors, and they turned 10 years old just a few weeks ago. So it all comes in full circle. When you give back to others, it helps you. And that's why you put your heart into Avon, and it will help you succeed. Avon has took me places that I never thought I would be. In the beaches of Bahamas, Jamaica, Hawaii. That was my big goal. I went to Lisa Wilber come to Kentucky. I will always be thankful for that. So she came to Kentucky, and I went to one of her workshops in Lexington, and I come out and I said, we're going to Hawaii. We're going to Hawaii. And then whenever I went to the first convention, Avon's first convention in Orlando, and they opened up the curtains and they had all the President's Council, a few I know now, they were in evening gowns. And I was like, oh my gosh, next year I want to be on that stage. So I worked hard. I was selling at Rose Circle, and I was selling $45,000 a year. I could not reach David H. McConnell. I tried every year. I changed my game. I did something different. I bought a nicer vehicle thinking that I could get more places. I was still crossing the same creeks and going back the same haulers, selling to the same people. No matter what kind of vehicle you're driving. So I thought, I've got to do something. So I will set my goal for President's Council to get on that stage. And that last campaign before the end of the cycle, I needed $10,000. And I went to my local Avon meeting, and my manager said, well, you need $10,000. You can't do it. And I'm like, I'm $10,000. I've already sold 80. I need $10,000. And so I had a fundraiser, and I begged everybody in town. I said, I won't make you buy anything for months. And if you'll just, and so to this day, that was 20 years ago. So to this day, everybody says, where are you going this year with Avon? They can't wait. They can't wait to see what Avon gives us back. And so really it's taken us places, and it gives us the flexibility to participate in what we want to and give back the way we want to. And just recently, my dad has dementia, so I'm able to be with him and work my business and give back and try to help them find the cause of this and hopefully a cure for our future generations.
I said I wasn't going to tell my story because I wanted to keep it a little bit shorter, but I'm going to tell you a couple of things. I won't tell my entire story. But I retired from the state of Georgia, took early retirement in my early 40s, and I was 55 years old when I joined Avon. You know, if you don't know you're not supposed to do something, sometimes you'll just do it. I had no clue. I had done volunteer work for 10 years and worked for free. My husband and I worked computer shows on the weekend. I had a little bit of retirement that I withdrew, and I helped family members. One was dying of cancer. Another one was trying to remodel a house. I didn't worry about the future at that point. After all, I was young. I was 55. So when I joined Avon. So, but when my money dwindled and I worked for free for 10 years, school system, they tried to hire me, but I didn't want to be there unless my child was there. But if she was there, I was there. I was raising another family, and I just was I hovered too much. In middle school, she invited me to leave her school, give her some space, and she deserved it. So I did, but I did not want to write a resume and look for a job. So I looked into home-based businesses. I probably did more research than anybody that's ever joined a direct sales company, and I decided on Avon, and I could tell you all the reasons why. But for one thing, when I got to doing the research, I remembered my mother's sister that sold Avon for 50 years, my favorite person on the planet ever. Could not talk to her because she had Alzheimer's, didn't even know her name. But I remembered all the things about Avon and her that I associated together. And then I looked at the books every 2 weeks, and I liked that we had a book every 2 weeks. It didn't scare me to buy the books because I knew that was my store without even calling it that, without even being told that, just instinctively. So I decided I would try Avon first. If it didn't work, I'd try something else. I tried it, and everybody can't do what I did. But I didn't have anything else to do except clean and cook. You understand? I was retired, and when I left that school, I had nothing else to do. So when my child went to school in the morning, I got in my car and I went to work. I worked it like a job. I didn't know that you couldn't make counsel in your first full year. I didn't know that everybody didn't try to do that. But I also didn't know that most people just signed. I found out pretty quickly that most people just sign up to do it part-time. They work into doing more. Everybody's situation is different. But because I was basically retired and had nothing to do, I did not like my money going, and I wanted to replenish that. So I was tired of working for free. I'll just be straight up with you. I joined to make me some money, and I never doubted I could, and I did. But I had no clue about leadership. When I got, Beth is gone, I see, but I met Beth in her yard. I was out talking to folks and putting out books. And she tells me, and she was my first recruit. That's how long she's been with me. The lady that has the cancer metastasized to her bones. But I met her in her yard. I don't know if she came out to pick up the mail or what, but we stood and talked. And she said that when she told me that she thought she might want to sign up to sell Avon, that I said, "Are you kidding?" I hadn't thought of starting a team. She's been with me through all these years. And I have, then I wanted to start a team. But I would go out, and I was so used to just doing what I did, I'd forget to talk to people about the opportunity. I had to train myself to do that. But I did it, and I built a team. I think I'm, probably fairly successful. And I wanted to just mention a couple of things. I just wanted to mention I think that I love you all so much for coming and doing this. You do not know how much this has meant to me personally, for my friend Beth, and for the cause. But I wanted to mention a couple of things, because there's a lot of folks out there that are in retirement that don't have enough monthly to meet the bills. They're living poorly. And this is something, the most recent addition to my team is an elderly retired couple. Look, don't judge people by their age or anything else. This guy has put together a golf tournament down here that's going to raise money for this cause. It's probably going to earn a lot. They are selling good, and they're my age or older. And yeah. I love them so much because they just step right in. You'd think they were 20, 25. I mean, they're just amazing. So don't judge people, and don't fail to offer the opportunity to someone because of their age. Because people live longer, they're healthier longer, and people cannot live on Social Security. Sometimes they can't live on Social Security and their retirement check. So don't overlook those folks. Millennials are wonderful. I want all the millennials I can get on my team. I love them. But don't overlook those folks, because there's going to be more and more people looking to do something, and they can really enhance their retirement. I'm going to tell you right now, I took care of my mother in my home for 10 years. She had dementia. And near the end, I did have to have around-the-clock caretakers. But you know what? She never had to go to a nursing home. I never left her in the hospital without being there with her. I canceled a few PRPC trips because she was in the hospital, and that's where I was going to be. But I was able to give her what I promised her I would give her. You can't do that and work a regular job, as some of you have said. It is not possible. And when she passed, I felt so good that I had been able to do that for her. Without Avon, I would not have been able to do that with her. So I'm really emotional today. This meant so much to me. I thank you all so much. Now, who wants to ask a question?
I want you to tell how many books you ordered, because you didn't tell that part of the story.
Okay, I was trying to divvy up, Carla. She is good for it. I know her. She's good for it.
I'm not broke no more. Go ahead and tell my story.
Well, when I got signed up, I'll try to make this real short. But when I got signed up, and first of all, nobody recruited me, but it took me 2 months to get anybody from Avon to call me back. True story. I was almost ready to just go somewhere else. I had decided I wanted to do it, and I'd written a business plan. I was ready to go. Nobody would call me back. I the Avon company directly. So one day I called them and I said, look, what is the problem? Are y'all going out of business? Y'all don't want Avon reps? I'm tired of waiting. So she gave me the number to a local, we used to call them training centers, that when we had managers then, and there was managers in the training center. So I called the training center, and this girl answered, and a woman, and she told me where she was. She said, can you come up right now? I said, oh yeah, and I'm on my way. So I went up there. She signed me up, and I thought she was the district manager. They had told me there was a district manager in there that would sign me up. About the time she got everything done, and which was signed here and threw the books at me, I said, how long you been a manager? She said, oh, I'm not a manager. I'm a leadership representative. I said, you're kidding. What is that? She told me, but I still wasn't that interested in that. It didn't mean a lot to me. And so I didn't have enough books to do nothing with, because I had a plan. and I couldn't work my plan. I found myself trying to recycle books, borrowing them, begging for them, paying for them from other reps, because I did go to the training center and see what I could find every other day and who I could get their number and talk to and that kind of thing. Well, about 2 weeks in, this girl quit, by the way, so we never really talked again. So I didn't have an upline. I didn't have a mentor. And we did have a district manager who did one of the best meetings I've ever seen. I got to see her one time at the meeting because right after that she was gone. We didn't have a manager for a good while. So I was paying for a long distance call and calling Avon to get my questions answered. And we did have a good assistant in the district at the time who became a very dear friend of mine, and I could ask her questions sometimes. But anyway, how many books I ordered? I was so sick of not having books and so frustrated. When I did my first order, I ordered 500 books on my very first order. I know everybody can't do that, but everybody can order more than 10. And you just have to, if you want to be in business, you want to build a business, you have to pay the bill. You want a retail store, you got to pay the rent. You got to pay a deposit on the rent. You got to turn on the utilities and pay a deposit on that. You got to usually buy your own shelves and stuff to put your product on. And then you got to buy the product and then you got to set it in the store. Then you can open the door and you're going to be working it yourself or you're going to pay somebody to help you. Either way, you've got a lot of money invested before you open that business. And then you got to stand there and pray they show up and ask you for something. The customers, I mean. When you're in direct sales, all you have to do is buy some books and use them. Don't sit them on the washing machine. Use them. Get out there and put them out and talk to folks. And that's all it took. And I think anybody can do this business. Anybody can do it and take care of their family and do what they need to do. But you do have to do it consistently. And you do have to, you can't just do it when you feel like it. You have to do it consistently, whether it's part-time or full-time. And I just want to say that Lisa Wilber didn't know it. She was probably my first mentor. As I've already said about Rhonda, she has helped me so much. She's a numbers person, and I'm a doofus when it comes to stuff like that. But I've always been able to call her with questions, and I can call Lisa Wilber. I don't bother anybody that often, though. But each one of you on this panel has inspired me more today than ever before, because I thank you so much for coming. So who else has a question? Oh, she put a 20 in. You got a question? Oh my God. Who put the 20 in?
My main question is, how do you get people to believe they can make money?
That's a great question. Who wants to answer it?
Show them that you're making money.
I think that I just lied at first. Yeah. I pretty much really did. Well, I kind of really did because I was spending all my money. But there is money to be made, and I use stories that you've heard today, as well as Lisa Wilber was my story for the whole first several. Still, I mean, people there, hey, let me just tell you about the money you can make, because they want to know the money. So you make money in this business. You just have to work the business, and you have to buy books.
I don't think people are attracted to the money. I think people are attracted to the fact that you're having a good time. And I know people think that's stupid, but at the end of the day, they're attracted to you having a good time. They want to have a good time and they want to make money. You don't have a good time at work. I don't know too many people. I mean, I was one of those crazy people who had a great time at work, but I enjoyed what I did. Most people don't want to get up at 5 a.m. They don't want to drive an hour and a half to work, and they don't want to do it. If you're having a good time, they're going to come join you. And especially when this is going to be sexist, and I'm sorry, but when the women go out, you guys know who's going to pay with a credit card, who's going to have the fives, who's going to have the singles, who's going to have the 20s. If the girl who had to pay for it with the credit card, all of a sudden it's the girl with the 20s, every one of y'all going to ask her what she's doing. Be that girl. Be that girl.
I wasn't the one on the pole. Just saying.
But that's honesty. You've got to show. You've got to deliver results. When you deliver results, I tell corporate all the time, our greatest recruiting asset is a representative making money, because you can't shut her up. She's telling all her friends how much money she's making. And that's the way it is. You've got to make the money yourself. And when you start making it, they'll start making it, because they're going to follow you. Go, Wilber.
What do you want to know? I disagree with you. Everybody wants money. I want money. I want money. Everybody wants money. I didn't hear the question, so I don't know how to answer. I just know I want money.
How do you get people to believe they can make money with Avon?
Actually, I think it's like when you have kids, you have to set an example. You have to believe, and you have to be working the program. And you know how Scola was saying she was using other people's stories? Well, at the beginning, I didn't have anybody else's stories. Avon Corporate didn't tell us who the other achievers were. So like, I didn't meet Vondell probably till 5 years in. So I was selling the dream. I was saying, I want to be a senior executive unit leader. I think I'm going to make a whole bunch of money. Do you want to do this with me? Let's do this together. I still have actually some of my original leaders. One of my original leaders, Brenda Rulo, is a bronze executive, and we've been in this business almost the exact same amount of time, because we both lived in a trailer park. We both wanted out of the trailer park. And I think we just were buying in on the dream. So we were living the dream together. So if you don't have a story yet, sell the dream.
Y'all, it's almost 4 o'clock. I know that I have a lot of questions, but I will get to talk to y'all later. So I don't know how long people want to hang. I don't want to keep this going on too long. So my question is, do y'all have any burning questions you want to ask? Okay, great. Thank you, April.
Okay. Because so many of us have teams nationally now, and even sometimes we have people that come on that move away. How do you guys develop leaders that you can't physically be with to go prospecting with and those kind of activities?
I think Rhonda should answer that. She does a great Zoom meeting with her team members. It's been great with connecting your team.
So probably the greatest thing to use is Zoom. I do a Zoom meeting for my leaders every week. And so for my first generation, and I'm kind of the philosophy that you develop your first generation, and they in turn turn around and develop their first generation. So my people I'm accessible to my people at any time, but every week we're together on Zoom and we develop those relationships. And then for the rest of the team, the leaders that are second, third, fourth, fifth generation, whatever, I have a Zoom on Monday night usually for them. And what I have learned is that it's become really easy for me, because when somebody asks a question or wants to know something, I just say, okay, how would y'all answer that? And I sit back and let them teach each other. And so that has been, I think, the best thing. And it's just, I mean, I understand what you're saying. You can't go out and physically say to them, okay, let's go here and let's do this. But you can tell them what to do. and you can let them develop their own experiences and the things that work the best for them. Because as somebody said earlier, nobody builds this business exactly the same. And I guess over the 21 years, we've tried every way there is to recruit and sell. And I still look for new ways. I was just asking somebody earlier today, how are you recruiting these days in this type of environment? I mean, I know social media. Carla's really into all that social media, and I'm not, as much into that. So I'm still. I mean, I do some, but not. That's not my major thing. So does that answer sort of? Somebody else, I'm sure, can add to that.
What us crazy girls do. Okay, so the two things that I can tell you have helped me, because I have leaders all over the country, and some of them I speak to very rarely, just because millennials were like, text me, I don't have time to talk to you. So this is what I have found has worked for me, and it is, I do use Zoom, but the main thing is Facebook, because so many people are on Facebook, even in people like Miss Pat's age, they're on Facebook. It's not just not for the kids anymore. So everybody's on it, and it's an easy to use platform. They already know how to use it, so I don't have to teach them how to use it. Sometimes I have to teach people how to use Zoom, so they can just pop right in there. I've empowered my current leaders with the ability to go live in the Facebook group and do whatever they're passionate about. So I have one that does makeup tutorials. I didn't tell her to do it. She was like, I was like, hey, you're an admin, you made bronze ambassador. And she was like, I'm going to do makeup tutorials. And I was like, go for it. And then the other one is like, I want to do new rep meetings every Wednesday. So she does my new rep meetings. And so empowering your leaders to work together as a team to support each other. And then setting your group up as a place for positivity, which you do that as a leader yourself by not complaining and not feeding into any of that inside your group. Because if you do it, they'll follow you. And so you set the group up for positivity, and you tell them that they will love each other because you love each one of them, and that if they don't, they'll get booted, because that's what I tell them. I'm like, you will love each other. These are your sisters and brothers. It's a positive environment. If you want to be negative, take it somewhere else. So you set the expectation, and it actually works, because people are like, they protect the environment. Then the group protects itself, and they bond from across. I mean, when we showed up at Rep Fest and they've never seen these people before, and they're like, hey, it's the same as we are when we see each other together. So the Facebook group for me, and the second thing that's really helped me develop leaders that I have never spoke to, was having a system for doing things. Okay. So you already have a system. You've been in this business long enough. This is what I do when I get a lead. This is how I handle it. This is the steps that I do. This is the email that I send. You don't write a new email every single time. You don't send a different text, like, oh, I'm going to text. I don't know what to text. I'll just write something. No, you have a formula. Okay. So putting that formula on a piece of paper, on a Google Doc that they can accept, that they can access. Okay. So then you just have, these are my steps for working a lead. These are my steps for working new team members. Here are the emails. Here are the texts. Here are everything that I do. Here's my blueprint. You can take it and do whatever you want to with it. You can throw it out the window if you don't want to do it, but you have this. And a lot of times they go, I don't want to come up with something. I'll just tell you, I'll use your exact same email and take my name out of it, because it gives them the freedom where it's not overwhelming. Then it's super, super simple and easy. And keeping that system simple, easy, and duplicatable means that they will duplicate the actual system. So that's my elder millennial answer.
Yeah, see, I'm like that in real life. That's me all the time. So my next question is then kind of the same aspect, but okay, I'm sorry, I'm loud, so I'm usually not. So if let's say you have some folks that you see the potential in them to do it and you can't take them out and they're too scared, how do you help them get over that? Oh, well, I don't have you to take me because I saw on Facebook you took such and such down, can you no, I can't drive all the way over to California. That's crazy talk. So how do you, help them kind of get over themselves, I guess, or see that, all you got to do, get out of the nest, go, and I will help you along the way, but you still got to go do it. Does that make sense? Okay.
I had a girl who my team who had so much potential, was so smart, and was very shy. And I couldn't be where she was. So she called me the voice in her ear. Now, she literally would say to me, she'd have her thing in her ear, and she would be out prospecting and describe the person and say, what do I say to her? And I would tell her what to say. And she wanted it bad enough, she would say it. And I could tell you her name, you know her. And it worked because I couldn't always be out there with her because she was trying to do it full time too. And I had a lot of other responsibilities, but it worked with her. I have been with other people in person, I'll go ahead and say this very quickly, who were so shy, they would talk. So I would, when I went out with them, I would start the conversation with the prospect and pull them in by asking them a question to try to get them talking to the person. So it's tough. It's a little tougher when they're long distance, but it can be done. And one more thing I want to say very quickly. I have a girl kicking it in Oklahoma. I met her at Rep Fest twice. I love her. You know who I'm talking about, April. Sometimes it's just there. And what I try to do is reach out to my first generation and let them know I'm here and what they can do with leadership. And they want it, I will go to the end of the earth to help them. But if they don't show me they want it, I don't chase them anymore. Because I wasted so much time over the years chasing people that really didn't want it and trying to put it in them, and it wasn't there to begin with. So what I have learned to do, show me you want it, and I'm there for you. And that's where my time and my resources are going.
Because I don't have an upline, I didn't have anybody to show me how to make this business. So when I get people on my team that say, well, you can't help me, or can you come, or I see that you've done this, or you've helped this person successful because they're closer to you. Because I have a lot of team that's very close to me because that's how I started my team. But I always use the example that nobody went out with me when I first wanted to, and I kind of had to figure out what to do. And I didn't even have anybody giving me any advice on what to do. I didn't have any like all this great stuff going on, and other great, hugely successful people in this business that also didn't have that is like Lisa Wilber. And she's making all that kind of money. Nobody showed her how to do it. So a lot of times they have to get out of their own way, and they have you. And that's what you tell them, like Mama Pat says, hey, I can help you. Call me, share it on our team page. Be that person and help that person and be that leader that you want to be there with you. And that's how they can be successful. And that's how I share it.
I watched them. I asked them about their personal life and what did you do today? Well, they didn't have time. They just didn't have time to go out and recruit. They didn't have time to look for new customers. Well, what did you do? Well, I went to the doctor, and then I had to pick up my prescription, and then I had to stop to get groceries, and then I had to go do something with the kids at school. So they saw people. Well, did you take your Avon books with you? Did you take your business cards with you? Because if that's what your lifestyle is, just put your Avon out there with it. I've been to a lot of doctor's appointments in the last 7 or 8 years with my dad, my stepmom, my husband even. And I realized that a lot of times when they clean up the offices and stuff, they just throw away the Avon books, or they pick up the business cards and just kind of toss them. So I stuck them in the magazines. And they can't, they're not going to look for them to throw them away. So then when the next person comes in and they pick up the magazine and they're looking through it, Avon literally falls in their lap. So I don't leave it out there for somebody to come along and throw away. I'm anxious to find something in a magazine, a sample, a perfume sample, or some kind of discount card or a coupon or something. So that's kind of how I've been looking at it. And I've been trying to teach my downline, no matter what you're doing in life, there's an opportunity. Whether you're going through the drive-through, there's somebody you can reach out to. If it's a new person, then you're reaching out to a new person. If it's the same person over and over, then they know you're consistent, and you know they're consistent.
So I'll take a little shot at that too, is give them a baby step. So by that I mean, if they say, well, you're not here to go out with me and show me, then give them an assignment of very similar to what Karrell said, is what do you have planned tonight or tomorrow? And if they say we're going out to dinner, okay, take your brochure with you and talk to the waitress. And here's what you say, and you give her the words, and then you talk to her tomorrow and find out how that went. So you hold her accountable. And if she didn't do it, I might give her another opportunity or two. But then it's kind of like, if you take a step, they take a step. You take a step, they take a step. We're going to meet in the middle. But you take a step, they don't step. You take another step, they don't step. You quit stepping. You know, and it's this little dance. So that's my.
Can I take a shot at this? Okay. You know, these guys today don't have a good excuse. When I started 30 years ago, we didn't have a Molly Stone-Bibb. We didn't have Facebook. We didn't have Lisa Wilber's Monday Morning Madness. So if they're a little too shy to get going themselves, plug them in to one of these great, awesome people that do regular, you know, Tuesdays with Teresa, you know, just plug them into somebody that, you know, get to talking to them and figure out who you think they would, you know, oh, I think you would love to hear what Molly has to say. Or you're going to love Lisa's Monday morning. Get them in on something like that, and maybe they'll get over their shyness a little bit. So that's my answer.
You know, I thought of one other quick thing, and that is let your brochure work for you. So put an teach them to put a label on the front, a label on the back, and a flyer inside every book. That is the flyer is a recruiting flyer.
Actually, can I add to that? So what I would say is, it's not that the person doesn't want to do it. So don't ever misinterpret that. I would start off by understanding there's obviously two ways to build your business, working it passively and actively. If the person says, I don't feel comfortable going out and actively working my business, then maybe give them a lot of passive suggestions. You know, I know when Lisa and I were out to dinner, it was funny. They said, hey, you know, you got a 15-minute wait. What's your name? We'll call your name when the table's ready. And Lisa went to say Lisa, and I said Avon. Avon's our name. The girl's like, oh, okay. So the table comes up. They said, table for two, Avon. And Lisa goes like this. I said, no, sit down. Girl goes, Avon, table for two. She's saying it louder and louder and louder. Pretty soon everybody's going, who the hell's Avon? And they're looking around. Oh, that's us. Thank you. But then everybody waiting knew we sold Avon. So when we left the books at the end of our table, people would walk by and say, can I have one of those? That was not us going out and actively selling Avon. So if somebody's shy, backward, start building their confidence with some, you know, passive, and then kind of build on that.
I can give you a short one. This is what I was told to me, because even though I can talk to a brick wall, I don't like to talk just to sell people stuff. And so I had like sell talking to people phobia. So I can't remember the coach's name. Do you remember the coach's name that talked to me? What was her name? Norma what? Strange. She told me that the first you baby step them into it, similar to what she was saying, but we went way lower than that. Okay. So the first thing that you do is you just smile at people and you gauge the feeling, because you'll get a feeling and you'll know immediately. You'll know immediately from that. So super shy people can gauge who they can talk to through their emotions, which is what connects us to doing something or not doing something. And then so I did that. It literally took me 3 days. So I'm smiling at people, and then I knew. And then the next part is to say hi, and then you get another response back. So it's literally baby stepping them into it, and that worked for me. So you're super shy people that they're shy, not lazy, because there's a difference. That might work for them too. It made me feel better about it.
I got something I want to say. We were talking about what Karen mentioned to engage your downline and going to some of the others' live videos and YouTube videos. Well, once my downline enjoys those, they want to meet those people. You know, I want to meet Molly. Well, you know, she's going to be at Rep Fest, so you should sign up. Am I right? Yeah, you want to meet Lisa Wilber? Well, come with me. You know, we've got a trip in Mexico, and Lisa will be there. So I think that's a good way to get their foot in the door into reaching their goals and telling them that there is something out there besides just, not only are you getting people the products that they want and they love, but you're going to get rewarded at the end of it.
Smile whether you're shy or not. You can really gauge people when you do that. Y'all, it's 4:00 and I'm enjoying this. And April's got $3. And this one over here's got $18 or $19 in the bag. So what do y'all want to do?
What else? Well, I've gotten a lot of answers as you guys keep thinking of stuff as you're talking. Ooh, you go.
Okay, what is your approach for fundraising? Finding new fundraisers or groups to do fundraisers?
I don't have to look for fundraisers. I can get one any day I want it. There are so many organizations out there that won't help. You just got to get your stuff together and present it to them.
The first person that asks me if I want to buy something, I ask them who their leader is and how much money do you need to make and what it's for.
Keep everything with you all of the time, because like Mama Pat said, that opportunity will present itself daily. Even when you walk in somewhere and they're collecting quarters, there's always somebody to get a hold of that they need money for something, and you just have to be prepared and tell them, what do you need, and let me help.
The elder millennial answer. It took me a second. All right, elder millennial. We now have fundraisers online.
Oh yes.
I don't know about where you guys live, but where I live in a small town, there are banners up all times of the year. We're, signing up for softball, we're signing up for cheerleading, and there's a banner. There's usually somebody's phone number on that banner, or there's an email address. We're having signups for football today. Follow up with those leads. You see the Girl Scouts out selling Girl Scout cookies, or somebody out selling donuts, or the car wash are my favorite. Nobody wants to be out there washing cars, especially all those mamas. No, the kids are not washing the cars. The mamas are out there washing the cars. Like Lisa said, you keep those fundraiser packets ready and in your car when you see those kind of things going on. You say, hey, I got a whole lot better way to raise money than washing cars. So just always be in tune to what's going on in your community.
So I earned that trip for 2 last year. And now that we have the new Mexico trip already announced and we know how to get there now, I still have so many people that are like, oh, I can never do that. I'm like, why? I did it. I did it for 2 people and I did it the year before for 1 person. Why not you? So what do you guys say to the folks on your team to make them believe that they can get it? You know?
I tell you what I done was everybody wants to see me travel. So I told them that I could earn it easier if they earned it, that I would get mentoring points. And I could do better earning it myself if they wanted to go with me. So I earned mentoring points mostly.
We do a picture with the fastest, quickest way to get there using like stick people and the points that you get for them and then the sales that you need. And we put it literally on one image because when you see that fat guy and all that stuff, it's like, okay. So just one image with the fastest way to get there, like personal recruit 300 points. And we put that underneath the person because most of the new people aren't going to have Alma leads anyways, putting it on that one image. And you can use Canva. It's a free service online, Canva. Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Online to create the image and then just post it. You can text it. They can text it to people. So that helps a lot.
Tell them they can earn money. They don't have to take the trip. Some of my team members like, I'm not getting on a plane. I don't think, and then they don't even try for it. And I tell them, listen, you try for it, your business is going to grow and you could take the money. And then you still try to talk them into go. But if they can't get them on the plane, they take the money.
So on the Atlantis trip a couple of years ago, I did something called make a plan to get your toes in the sand. And I had 7 girls earn the trip and I earned it for 2 and we let my husband go. And he became our cabana boy. So he took care of all of our suntan lotion needs and he just took care of us, took care of me and all my team while we were on the trip. And we all got together in Atlantis and we had our freshly manicured toes and we took a picture of all of our toes in the sand. And I made a copy of that picture and gave it framed to each of them. And I said, you guys put that on the refrigerator because when the next trip comes up, we're going to have twice as many toes in the sand. So we're doing that again for Cabo. And I'm going to start weekly or every campaign, have a meeting. And everybody wants to go to Cabo, come to our, going to Cabo meeting. And I take that picture frame and they get their picture made standing in that frame that says, going to Cabo or whatever. And it makes it real to them because they can picture themselves going on that trip. So.
I'm good.
You have another question? Does anyone else have another question? I know we could all. Oh, Kelly has a question.
Hi, I'm Kelly. I work in the store, so I apologize if this has already been asked. I have somebody who's interested in maybe signing up under me. She does not know a lot about makeup, does not wear makeup.
Neither do I. Well, occasionally.
Okay, yeah. But she would be a very hands-on person, and I am not close enough to help daily or even weekly. So what would be your best response on how I could help her learn the products and learn how to recommend them to the customers that she has? Lisa, can you help with that question?
Yeah, I want to talk about that one. You got me? probably know less about our products than anybody in the entire country. Yet I'm the number 5 money earner. I don't think that, in my experience, a lot of customers don't ask for that information. They want good service. They want you to give them the book on a regular, consistent basis. They want you to ask them for the order, and they want their stuff that they asked for. They don't necessarily need recommendations. You don't necessarily need a bunch of information about all the products, because you can find that out. There's videos on Avon's site, and there's product information on your e-store site, but you don't personally need to know all that stuff, and neither do your team members. Good service doesn't necessarily mean that you know all about the products. I mean, I've got makeup on today because I'm here speaking. This is like the first time I've worn makeup in the last 3 months, I think.
Thank you. Okay. Okay. I am new to fundraising. Does anybody have any suggestions on how to get started with that?
We kind of touched on that a little bit earlier, but I think use the connections you have already. If you have children, they have friends who are involved in sports or cheering or those kind of activities, use the connections you already have. If you don't have any kids, borrow somebody's. You've got, everybody, all these kids are always raising money. All these kids are always raising money. And when you can tell them they can do it through Avon, and it's a lot easier than anything else. I mean, people are in my area, they're so sick of cookie dough. We have bought cookie dough. I mean, what you going to do with another tub of cookie dough? Sit down and eat it while I'm listening to Molly and Lee, we don't need any more cookie dough. So they're ready for something new. And most people don't know Avon has fundraisers. So it's up to you to tell them, let them know.
You're gonna have to say that again. Just do it. Don't be difficult. Come on.
Any group, any team, the schools, the PTA, churches, anytime you have a group of people with a common cause, you got a fundraiser. Let them sell the product.
If you see someone that's raising money, like our local Relay for Life team, tell them you want to help them raise their money. You want to help them. And so put your heart into it, find something to you and your friends, and put your heart into it and give back. It's always about giving back, not just fundraising.
I was just saying one last, have everybody say one last thing. Closing statement, yeah.
Well, I'll just go ahead because this is my last time at the mic, and thank all of you for coming. I love you all. I appreciate you so much. This has been such a special thing for me, and I hope we're doing good for the cause, and I believe we are. So thank you for coming, everybody.
Thank you, Pat, for having us and giving us the opportunity to be involved in this. That means the world to me. It means a lot to me. But I mentioned earlier about my first trip that I earned. I remember when I got to the first opening ceremony, I thought, where's my table? Where's my table? And I opened the door and it was right there. So I thought, I barely made it in the door. But that was okay. I was in the room. I was in the room with the best of the best. And you hang in there and you keep trying and you keep doing what you know how to do and what works best for you. And you will end up on that front table sitting with Pat and a lot of others. So now we sit at the front.
So I listen when Lisa Wilber talks. So shameless promotion time. Shout out to my website, which I have tons of training and articles on. If you think I'm funny, you can connect with me on social media from there, my YouTube channel, all the funness. It's on the blog. Okay. So the website is www.carlalytle. That's CarlaLytle.com. So shout out to my blog. Thank you, Pat. Love you bunches. There we go.
This has just been a blast. Thank you for even thinking for having us to come, because this is something that I love, is just being with the Avon family. And yep, shout out to the team and shout out to the Formidable Four for always being inspiring, as being one of them, and then being also very inspiring. So success with Scola, and you can find me on Facebook, on YouTube, and I just did a book.
And on Amazon. Yeah.
And on Amazon. So if you're looking for a little inspiration, you can check out the book. It is Success with Scola, and you can get it on Amazon as well. So, but thank you very much.
What? Yeah, you find me next to Lisa Scola. So find Scola, you'll find me. No, I guess my closing statement is, no matter how rough things are, just my number one tip to people is don't give up. Your business can change in the blink of an eye. And, you know, sometimes what you're trying to do, you just keep trying and trying and trying. And then it's like that light bulb goes off and it's like, oh, well, maybe I should do this different. And if you stick with it, you know, I had one of those aha moments. I was an executive leader for 3 years, and Lisa kept saying, hey, you know, why don't you move up? I'm like, oh, I will. I'm trying. And it wasn't until I went on an Avon trip. I wasn't even invited because I wasn't a title at the time. And I had messaged Lisa Wilber a couple of times because I heard how fabulous she was. And I said, I want to meet her. So I messaged her and she immediately messaged me back. And I was like, wow, that was kind of quick. I thought she was in this meeting, and she's like, no, I'm packing my suitcases, getting ready to leave. And I'm like, wow, okay. So when can I meet you? And she said, well, you can meet me right now. And I got so excited. And she said, you can come upstairs and carry my luggage down for me. That was my aha moment. Either I was going to step up to the plate and move to be an executive, or I might as well just get a regular job and carry people's bags. So thank you, Lisa Wilber.
I know that story. You know, it's funny. I've just been sitting here listening to everybody, and I thought, God, listen to all the knowledge in the room and listen to all the different ways. And I thought, but yet I hear all the excuses still about why it can't work. Lee has turned me into this big podcast person. Never thought I would be that person, but I have been. And I also want to recommend you need to listen to more people than Avon people. You've got to get away from, this is great information for our industry, but sometimes you need something around the next corner to help you in your industry. So what I want to say is this, and it's difficult without like being Molly. So I'm just going to be Molly. Okay. So you cannot make people see what they don't see. April, I want to say that to you because I hear your questions, and the reason they resonate with me is because almost 15 years in this business, and I was you for the first 7 years. I wanted things for people more than they wanted them. And that is the worst thing you can do in this business. I don't want it to take you 7 more to learn that, number one. So what I want to, and you can't make anybody believe in themselves. That's number 2. You can't. I've tried. Yes. Because I want you to think about, I've known you a long time now, and I want you to think about where you were. And I want you to think about where you're at right now. And you have had a lot of inspiration along the way, but you can get as much inspiration as you want, but it didn't work until you worked it. So that I want to say. How do people get trips? They need to want to go on trips. That's how they get on trips. That's what I want to say. It's the truth. If the trip's not important to you, you ain't going to earn it. My number one thing that I've learned, 11 months I've been working my team differently than I've ever worked it before. Been working my business differently than I've ever did. And I've listened to this lady here, Miss Rhonda. I want to be where she's at on a lot of different levels. And the reason is I hear her say, you know what? You know, this is what I do, and I do this for my first gen. And I'm going, please, Jesus, that's where I want to be. Because, see, I'm small potatoes on the totem pole. To you all, I'm big potatoes, but I'm really not. I'm really not. I'm probably closer to you than the rest of the leaders here. No, seriously. Because, see, I still have to do it all for so many people in all 5 of my gens because my leaders haven't grown to where I am yet. For me to say, let me just hand it off. So I do want to be with you. I need you to know I want to be with you. But I want you to know that the things that I'm doing different now are increasing my activity rate. And me, what I'm doing now, and making every person just as important as that person who makes me the most money on my team, has made the most sincere difference. But the reason it is because I'm 11 months into it, and I wanted to quit 6 times a month because I wasn't seeing what it was doing because I was just planting those seeds that I talk about. But I didn't want to believe that about me. And now what I'm seeing is leaders become engaged that, by the way, most of those people weren't leaders that I really saw as leaders. And now the seeds are sprouting, and they've been planted a long time, girl. A long time. But I stayed consistent because the number one thing in this business you have to do, hell or high water, is stay consistent with what you know works. Because eventually they're going to get it. The ones who are supposed to get it. And by the way, that's about 20% of your team. They're the ones who are going to get it. So when you know you've got the right activities, it doesn't matter if they live in Alaska, Hawaii, because when they're broke enough and they're a hot mess enough, but they want that to change and they don't want to just talk about it, they will take every bit of information you provide to them from YouTube, word of mouth, text. They'll talk to anybody because if they don't make the money, if they don't change their life, they're going to stay just where they're at today, the day before, and the day before that. Change comes from here. We give people the tools they need to change their life every single day, but none of those tools work in that garden unless you pick up the hoe, no pun intended, and you till the ground, okay? You till the ground, and it's not up to you to do it because you only got your row to hoe, girl. That's all you got. Okay, I could have said that. You're right, and I hear this, and I just. Thank you, honey. I need that. 14 years in, and I've learned more about myself in the last 11 months of this business because my team was falling apart. Everything was going to hell in a handbag. And I said, how can that be? And I said, because I'm sitting here trying to do it all myself. And I haven't found the right people who want what they want. And it doesn't matter what they want. If they want it bad enough, it may not be my dream. But I'm going to make my dreams work. And if you got a dream and you want it to work, come on, I'm going to show you how hard you can work and have a good time doing it. And you're going to get pissed. And it is going to get that real. And you're going to want to quit. But I'm telling you, there is always a way with this company right here. Whether corporate makes bad moves, whether we make bad moves, whether we do it together, because see, we keep coming back, and every time we come back stronger. So that's what I want to leave everybody with, whether you're watching it, whether you're like, shut up, I have to go to the bathroom and I don't want to miss anything, no matter what it is. But for you, because I feel you and I know what you're digging deep for, you got it. Just quit doubting what you're given. The point is they're not picking it up and doing anything with it, girl. So find those who will. That's what I say.
Well, since I got to follow that, All I'm going to say is anything great begins where uncomfortable starts. Wrap your head around it, and when you do, you'll start to figure it out.
I think the best thing I can say in wrapping this stuff up is that your team can never grow beyond you. And so if you want to see team growth, find a way to develop yourself to be a better leader, to be a better person, and your team will follow. So that's, I guess, my closing thing on that. And can I do a little shameless self-promotion here, like Carla said? So very quickly, I was one of 3 Avon representatives that was invited to be interviewed by Susie Orman about our experience with domestic violence. And it's actually on, my interview is on thehotline.org, because I'm grateful that Avon not only is in the breast cancer awareness campaign and working with the American Cancer Society, but we're also working with the National Domestic Violence Hotline. And so I just want to put that out there, because I think there'll be a lot of people watching this. And so the self-promotion part comes with, and I was thrilled this morning at 6 a.m., I think, and 10 o'clock to be on CNN sharing my story with that. So it was great. Oh, wait a minute. I can tell you where you can get my book. So you can download my book for free, which is called No Bottle, No Bruises. It's about my experience and how domestic violence is not all just alcoholics, addictions, and people being beaten up and that kind of thing. It's not always that way. It's about so much more. It's the mind control, the emotional and mental and financial abuse. And so you can read my book. It is on www.BRALF, which stands for Broad River Abundant Life Foundation.org, BRALF.org, and you can download it for free.
This has been great. Just in closing, my motto is work it till the end and don't give up. And I say that over and over again to my team to just keep them going. And just because they've put their order in, it's not the end of the day. The RPS hadn't closed, or not RPS. Flex had not closed out yet. Let's keep going. Let's keep working on our goals. And I'm gonna give you a term that I've been playing with, because I think that a lot of representatives get this way just naturally because we're caring people. I'm not a mother. I do not have real children. I mean, like babies, kids. I don't have any kids, and I can't have any more. I mean, I'm older now, so I can't have kids. But I'm a mama. And I realized, and I'm gonna say just like Molly here, I realized that I'm too mama. I said I want to get out of Mommyville, so that's my new thing. I'm trying to get out of Mommyville, and everybody's got to do their own thing, and how they do it is how they want to do it, but get the same results. So that's what I'm working on right now. And so you look at us, but we're still learning. Doesn't matter what level we are still learning things and learning how to make things better. So bye-bye, Mommyville.
Well, first of all, I want to thank Pat for having us over. I relish every chance I get to get with my Avon family because we have so much fun. And what I want you to keep in mind is whether you started yesterday or if you've been in for 30 years, the person who's going to have the most impact on your business from a customer standpoint or from a leadership standpoint is the person you hadn't met yet. that person, that next person you come in contact with in the parking lot or in the bank or the grocery store, that person may be the very one that takes you to the top of this business. So never stop offering the Avon earning opportunity. And then I'm going to turn it over to Lisa Wilber because she's got to give us some words of wisdom.
Oh, yay. Thank you for having me there with you. And the reason I'm here is because, like you guys were talking about, I'm at the Ambitious Women's Conference with about a dozen Avon representatives, including Gold Executive Leader Pam Heller and her daughter Jessica. So we're out here learning some new things so we can all share for everybody. But going with what Karen said, I just wanted to add that if you're looking for someone to save your business or save your life, start looking in the mirror, folks. You got the hand that needs to help you, the hand that to help yourself. So don't look around for somebody else. Don't be whining about not having a mentor, or don't be whining about not having an upline or a supportive upline. If you're looking for a good leader, be a good leader. Just go ahead and help yourself.
Bye.